Hello, I'm 40 chapters into the Queer Principles of Ktt Webb, which I'm not a practiced romance reader, but this is obviously a gay romance book with a kind of a heist and historical drama behind it. It's taking place in like the 18th century or something like that. With there's a lord, and how are they going to try and the son's trying to hold up his father, who is a lord or something like that, and steal a book that he can then use as leverage because his father turns out had a set earlier marriage and he is illegitimate, and so is his wife, and their child are illegitimate. But so he's gone to Ktt Webb. This Percy is the son, has gone to Ktt Webb to kind of set up the heist. And it's a romance, so you get to see in both their viewpoints, and you get to enjoy the romance thing, which works well for the romance. Unfortunately, there's also the thing of, oh, it's a heist. So we don't really get to see very much of the father, because I guess we're interested in the romance part. We're not interested in the father, though I'll come back to that. We also have this stuff of every once in a while the characters will go, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure about this other, about Kit isn't sure about Percy's motives, and Percy isn't sure about Kit's motives, except we know both of their perspectives, and we know that they're both madly in love with each other, and that, so it works for the romance part, but it does not work for a kind of noir or kind of heist, kind of crime, double cross, because we know there's no double cross. It's remarkably cozy in that way, in that we know that they love each other and they're hot for each other, and the sex is hot and all that stuff. So it's very cozy in a way that kind of counteracts the whole heist thing and the whole whether divided loyalties can they be trusted. It's like, no, we know that's all nonsense. Now the thing about the not seeing the father, I would be more inclined to complain about that, except that I've read the second book first, the one about Marion Hayes, The Perfect Crimes of Marion Hayes, who is the wife of this despicable lord, and her romance with Rob, the presumed dead, now has, at this point, has turned back up alive. Surprise in this book. And it's like, well, I kind of knew that because I'd read the second book. But, I mean, it's not a big spoiler thing like that. But if I hadn't read that second book, I would also be complaining about how lackluster the characterization of Marion was in this book. It's like, this is all, we're only focusing really on, this is only viewpoint of Kit and Percy. And we're not seeing much of anyone else. What I could see is that in a further book, you might actually get something from this lord's perspective, though I don't know who he'd be having a romance with. He seems like a complete asshole. So maybe not. Maybe he's just poorly characterized. And I know that with the second book, Marion is on the run from the fallout of the events of this book, so we don't see him in that book either. So it's kind of, it succeeds as a romance, but as more stuff, like having more characterization of the father of that, it's not so much. Maybe we'll get a good dose, like in the actual crime pursuit of the crime, we'll get a little bit more about the father, because he's like sort of the antagonist of the book, but we don't get him much because it's all about the romance. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Queer Principles of Ktt Webb so far. More videos later.